Good morning. I'd like to ask those of you online to please mute yourself, and those of you here in the fellowship to make sure that your phones are off or silenced so that we can all enjoy our prelude this morning more without interruption.
Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they say, it will rain a sunny day. I know, shining down like water. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Coming down a sunny day. Yesterday and days before, sun is cold and rain is hard. I know, been that way for all my time. Well, forever on it goes, through the circle fast and slow. I know, it can't stop, I wonder. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Coming down a sunny day.
Good morning. Welcome to the Carbondale Unitarian Fellowship, located on the traditional lands of the first people of present-day Southern Illinois, the Miamia, Osage, Kaskaskia, and Kickapoo peoples. The fellowship is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association, sharing the good news of Unitarian Universalism with folks throughout the river region. Our good news is a message of love, freedom, reason, respect, and justice as the basis for religious community. I'm a member of the Sunday Services team and the RE committee, and this morning I am your Sunday service facilitator. We are a congregation of open minds and hearts, all ages, all colors, all genders, all abilities, all kinds of wealth, all kinds of love. If you are a newcomer this morning, I'd like to extend a special welcome to you. We're so glad you're here. Whether you're here in person or online, we hope you'll stay for our coffee hour after the service. Now I invite those of us who are online to select gallery view so we can wave at each other, connecting our congregation over space.
It is good to be together. I'm Reverend Sarah Richards. I'm the minister here at Carbondale Unitarian Fellowship, and it is very good to be together with you here this morning. As we enter into our theme this month of courage, this morning, I'm going to bring you some science, some stories, and some fellowship folks' experiences to see how we are already courageous and how we can learn and grow courage individually and as a congregation. And so let us begin our service by lighting the chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Those at home are invited to light their chalices together with Gilletta after the reading.
Our chalice lighting this morning is by Betts Weinecke. May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us.
And now, with intention, Gilletta puts a pebble in our bowl of water, letting it ripple out beyond this space, beyond all knowing. All are invited to do the same here or at the fellowship or at home to mark a joy, a sorrow, or any other feeling you have during the musical parts of the service. And now I invite us all into the time for all ages. This morning we have a special video story and song from musician Leah Morris about a very courageous hummingbird.
Let me tell you about the hummingbird. Once upon a time, the great forest of the world was burning. Flames rose, the heat was oppressive, and all the animals fled as fast as they could to the edge of the forest, to the edge of the fire, where they watched with sorrow as their homes were destroyed. Only one animal, the hummingbird, flew beyond the flames and found a river, and she scooped up as much water as her little beak could hold and flew back to the fire and dropped it. And then she flew back, scooped up as much water as she could over and over again, even though her wings got tired, even though she began to feel the heat piercing her feathers. She continued to scoop up just as much water as her beak could hold and drop it onto the fire. While the other animals looked at her and called out, "Hummingbird, what are you doing? Stop this, it's useless, it's a waste of your energy." Even the elephant, whose long trunk could have scooped up 1,000 times as much water, called after the hummingbird and told her, "Your efforts are a waste of time and energy. Stop trying to put out this fire. What are you doing?" The hummingbird stopped just long enough to answer the question. "I'm doing the best I can." That story was told by Dr. Wangari Maathai, whose tireless efforts to build up her community, to plant trees, to be part of putting out the fire that we often lament about in our world, will be remembered for generations. Like that hummingbird, remind us how important it is to nurture beauty, and how each of us has the capacity, whether we have just a tiny beak or a large trunk, to nurture beauty, to appreciate that which is precious around us, and to be part of conserving and caring for the beauty within ourselves and the beauty in the rest of the world. This story inspired this song. Hey hummingbird, I'd like to join you as best I can. Our lovely world deserves my heart and both of my hands, giving my all, giving my all. The very the stars, I'd love to join you as best I can. Life as an art requires my heart and both of my hands, giving my all, giving my all.
Thinking back on the story of the hummingbird and the big fire, why do you think the other animals told her she should stop, that she was being foolish? What do you think they did after the hummingbird told them, "I'm doing the best that I can"? Now, our hymn this morning that we're about to sing, "I Know This Rose Will Open," is a wonderful one to sing when we need to get up our own courage, when we need to face anything. It doesn't need to be a big fire at all, but just anything that we want to have some courage. I know this rose will open. The words will be on the screen, and they're also in our hymnal, number 396. So, can you just give me that chord?
I know this rose will open. I know my fears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. Wings, I know this rose will open.
Thank you.
Our reading this morning is All That We Have Been, All That We Will Become by Leslie Ahuva Fales. The sentence beginning, "Blessed are you, Spirit of Life," is an adaptation of a Hebrew prayer called the Shehecheyanu. In Leslie's words, it's a blessing for any time you do something you haven't done in a long time, or you're doing something for the first time, or when doing annual events that you should feel blessed for having lived to see come around the wheel of the year again, or for when you survive a close call, or when you're about to do something adventurous. All that we have been separately and all that we will become together is stretched out behind us like stars scattered across a canvas of sky. We stand at the precipice, arms locked together like tandem skydivers, working up the courage to jump. Tell me, friends, what have we got to lose? Our fear of failure? Our mistrust of our own talents? What have we got to lose? A poverty of the spirit? The lie that we are alone? What wonders await us in the space between the first leap and the moment our feet, our wheels, however we move our bodies across this precious earth, touch down softly on unknown soil? What have we got to lose that we can't replace with some previously unimaginable joy? Blessed are you, Spirit of life, who has sustained us, enlivened us, and enabled us to reach this moment. Give us courage in our leaping and gratitude in our landing, and share with us in the joy of a long and fruitful ministry together.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger and endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and its only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies the sea that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose.
All that we have been separately and all that we will become together is stretched out before and behind us like stars scattered across a canvas of sky. We stand at the precipice, arms locked, together like tandem skydivers working up the courage to jump. Tell me, friends, what have we got to lose? I imagine that this question, phrased differently and in different languages, has been shared by every democratically organized congregation for centuries. We are all in the roller coaster ride together. In the UU tradition, we've promised each other or made covenants to stand at the precipice, arms locked together, working up the courage to jump. But to back up a bit, when you think of it, each individual has had to make their own leap in becoming a member of that congregation. Each one of us had to ask ourselves, had to take a risk. And risk, according to an author who surveyed a variety of scientific sources, is the first of three components defining courage. The other two are intention and a goal that may benefit others. Before we explore the communal courage demonstrated by this congregation, let's consider how courage shows up in ourselves. I asked for people's instances of courage without defining it on Facebook and noted variations in type of risk taken: physical, social, psychological, or a combination, as well as duration: an instant, a year, a lifetime. Roy Sumner wrote, "Prevented a student from being strong-armed by agitated fellow near Schnucks several years ago." Carrie Vine wrote, "Being with my son as he took his last breath, by far the most courageous thing I have ever done." On the flip side, being a single mom and alone when he was born. Dee Evans wrote in, "Stepped between an agitated client to protect another client. Went to seminary." Kay O'Malley said, "Living authentically." T. Matthew Brown wrote, "That's an easy one, coming out and coming out again. Every week I do tons of scary things." Elisa Harding Hummer wrote, "Started life 2.0, which meant ending life 1.0. A restart and reinvention of myself, my relationships, my career, my health, the list goes on. I kept my kids, but that's about it." And Carol Johnson Wingate wrote, "Nothing recently." Depending on what definition of courage we use and how we're feeling in the moment, we might agree with Carol. As educator Amy Eva writes, "Courage doesn't have to look dramatic or fearless. We express it in both bold and quiet ways. In fact, general courage, the confident or seemingly brazen actions perceived by others, differs from personal courage, those actions that are courageous in the minds of the actors themselves. It all depends on how you view the challenge in front of you and the fears associated with performing a particular behavior. In other words, these days, some of us may need significant personal courage to get out of bed and face the day on behalf of those we value and care about." We all have times in our lives when we're not feeling general or personal courage. Amy Eva gleaned from her research 6 ways to develop it, to develop courage. The first one might be the very most challenging. See yourself as courageous. This can be in the form of daily affirmations, psyching yourself up for a challenge, or by spending time to note when you've done courageous things any time in your life. The responses to my Facebook questions are great examples of this self-reinforcement. The second courage-growing method is also tough, especially in terms of taking risks to our social status and ego. Getting comfortable with mistakes. Fear of failure is one of the main obstacles to courage. Eva cites an analysis of 38 studies of resilience in response to failure or mistakes, which found that more resilient individuals had lower levels of perfectionism and a more positive way of explaining past events. Like, I haven't achieved this goal yet, but I'll try something else next. It takes a lot of practice to get comfortable with mistakes. One exercise is, again, write it down. This time, you write down a recent mistake. Crumple up the paper, and then write about what you learned or how you've grown from that mistake. This helps you put mistakes in the context of the learning process. Emphasis on process. That is your life. The third technique for growing your courage is deceptively simple. Keep trying. Think of the hummingbird's perseverance in our Time for All Ages story. She overcame her fear of physical danger and of the judgment of her friends, and most importantly, she kept doing the best that she could. Perseverance is inspiring to others, and it can be taught. In another study cited by Eva, and I'm quoting here, when adults model persistence in working toward a goal, infants as young as 15 months tend to mimic that behavior. So it's important to share your own experiences of perseverance, overcoming failures, mistakes, fears, keeping with it. Share those with others. Here's an example. My freshman year of high school, I went out for track, which is very unusual because I was not a sporty person. I was a drama nerd. But I didn't get cast in the play, so I went out for track. And I lost every single race that I ran in. I lost over and over, sometimes trailing by quite a lot, but over the course of the season, I actually improved my time by more than a minute, and I ended up being the person that the coach used as an example to others because I kept with it. I didn't quit. The fact that I didn't become a runner from that experience is beside the point. Which brings us to Courage Development Method 4. Look for the heroes. One example of this is Nobel Peace Prize winner Wangari Maathai, the founder of the Green Belt movement, leading activist and scholar of ecology, development, and gender. Maathai is a hero to many, including the musician Leah Morris, who heard Maathai's story of the hummingbird and wrote a song about it. The ripple effects of courage. According to the study, Heroic Helping, the effects of priming superhero images on prosociality, you know it's really scientific when they use a word like prosociality. The study says, the individuals we admire may represent some aspect of our ideal selves as they demonstrate moral courage through difficult times and a desire to do good in the world. They can also inspire us to live more meaningful lives. So, who are the heroes who have inspired you to be courageous? Going deeper to consider the risks they took, values they acted on, maybe ones you share, is a good exercise for this. In fact, I invite you now, let's take a moment to bring into your mind your personal hero or heroes who have inspired you to be courageous? What are the risks that they took? And the values that they acted on? Your heroes may be people you know very well. You might share their stories, maybe even write a song. That way, you're not only growing your own courage from their model, you're helping others to do it too. That thing about values we share with our heroes, that's crucial because it's sometimes easier to recognize them in others than ourselves. We can start there as we try out method 5 for growing courage, clarify your values. Here are the key questions that Eva suggests we ask ourselves. What do I value in myself? What do I stand for? What is important to me? What are some of my successes and accomplishments? Eva puts it this way: during those dark winter mornings when you really don't want to crawl out of bed and face the day, remember that courage can also be a very private, personal act. There will always be risks and challenges to face, but what really matters most in your gut? Is it love, learning, curiosity, compassion, hope? How do these values inform who you are and how you show up in the world? This congregation is one place that we can delve deep on these questions, be affirmed and challenged. And it is a place that we can try the 6th and last method to find and grow our personal courage. Become part of a social force for courage. Eva mentions social and emotional communities of practice, specifically for teachers and students, which nurture a sense of belonging, find emotional support, and engage in collective action. But that is also what the Carbondale Unitarian Fellowship strives to be, in our inclusive welcome, in our care for each other, and in acting on our principles. So now we're finally back to where we started. We stand at the precipice, arms locked together like tandem skydivers, working up the courage to jump. We have made some dramatic leaps together throughout our history. Heck, the formation of this congregation itself was an act of communal courage. And right now, we're in the midst of discerning our congregation's role in reproductive justice in our community. We're deciding how to act on our LGBTQ welcoming congregation status to be fully inclusive of trans and non-binary people. We're involved in several programs that support the most vulnerable people in our community. These bold public actions are important to being who we are as a congregation. And also, as Amy Eva reminds us, demonstrations of quiet courage are just as important. It's worth reminding ourselves of the promises we've made to each other in our Behavioral and Right Relations Covenant, which was adopted by the congregation last May. Its opening paragraph says, "We commit to building our relationships with each other with patience and forgiveness, interacting with others as they are, not as we imagine them to be. We will lovingly support one another on our spiritual paths as we continue becoming our best selves. I submit to you that our covenants are essentially a way that we can see ourselves as a courageous community. Keeping those promises we've made to each other takes perseverance, for starters. We see more of this in the section about right relations. Mistakes will be made. Conflicts will arise. We value bringing people back into relationship with each other rather than shaming or punishing. It is courageous to be accountable for mistakes, to apologize and try again. This covenant challenges us to be our best selves, including having the courage to risk embarrassment and bruised ego for the benefit of the congregation, as well as ourselves. I want to read to you a bit more of this covenant, and I invite you to listen to it as a statement of courageous community. We are a supportive and nurturing faith community, honoring and respecting the rich diversity of those gathered here. We commit to the principles of right relations, including honesty and authenticity in our interactions, words and actions that are supportive and caring, not belittling or demeaning, and respect for each person's boundaries of mind, body, and spirit. We acknowledge our Unitarian Universalist principles and covenant to put them into practice with each other and those outside our congregation. We grow in community in times of joy and celebration and in times of sorrow and challenge. We take care of each other and we take care with each other. What I hear as I read these words is plenty of potential risk, intention, and goals to benefit the whole congregation, as well as the individuals involved. Friends, at every moment, we have opportunities to find and grow courage, whether it takes the form of leading a revolution or getting out of bed. In this congregation, at every moment, we have the opportunity to act boldly and quietly, fulfilling the commitments we've made to each other. May we see ourselves as courageous, get comfortable with making mistakes, keep trying, look for heroes, clarify our values, and continue to take part in this social force for courage. May we, like the hummingbird, know that we're doing the best that we can. Amen.
Okay, this is a song a lot of folks know, so feel free to sing along if you know the words, or if you don't know the words, or if you think you know the words and then realize you didn't really know them. That's okay. Just sing along if you feel like it. See if I can remember how it goes. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out the love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out a warning, I'd ring out the love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out a warning, I'd sing out the love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Well, I got a hammer and I got a bell, I got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's the song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land.
Thank you, Warren.
All right. I'd like to thank, as Gilletta said, thank you, Warren, very much for all of your music this morning. I'd like to thank our AV team of Amy Weber and Linda Linson online, and facilitator Gilletta Brandt, and thanks to all who are a part of this service, which is each and all here together in person and in online fellowship. And now for our benediction. This is a unison benediction so that we can all bless each other. Words are on the screen and in the order of service. If you are home and have someone with you or a family group here, feel free to take hands if you'd like. Otherwise, you can raise your palms to give and receive the blessing. Again, let's do it with courage. Everyone rise here as you're willing and able. These words are by Reverend Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends.
The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high.
Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Amen. Go in peace with love for justice.